So what is happening, people? Hey guys, today we're gonna ride around. This is a fairly new lake to me for my electronics. I hadn't really used my electronics to map out this lake, so I'm gonna be going over some side scan things to look for. We're gonna ride around, we're gonna look for fish, we're gonna look for humps, we're gonna look for brush, we're gonna look for creek channels. And in today's video, I'm going to try to point that out on SideScan. I know many of you have that capability out there. You may not have LiveScope, but you have SideScan. It can really aid you in finding fish quickly on a new lake. So guys, come along with me. I hope you enjoy the video. See these individual fish? Those are crappie. All right guys, there's some of that wall there I was showing you. Yeah, that's a pretty good one, right? So guys, right off, you can see this old creek channel here, but the first thing that I want to do when I'm running SideScan is I'm gonna come in, hit this menu, and I'm gonna turn this brightness to auto high, down. I'm gonna turn it up to 100% right there. I'm gonna get this brightness up, and I'll show you what happens. And I'll turn that brightness down, and you can kind of see that, I hope. See, it's 76. You really can't see that bottom. So watch as it goes up, how it really lightens up things on the bottom. So that's at 100%, and you can really begin to notice the difference. And normally I will run about 100 feet, and I'm going to turn here, and you can see off to our left this shadow line. That's probably the old creek channel right there, that shadow line. Probably, I don't know if that's mud or boulders or whatever that is there. Probably the old creek channel. You can see the shadow line. See it right here? You can follow the creek channel. Notice we're getting a little bit deeper. We're probably getting ready to come over it. And I can kind of speed up just a little bit. Travel a little quicker. And see, we coming across here. See this little mark here? That's a school of shad, and it's directly underneath. So for those who don't know, the dark area is directly under the boat, and then this tan area is out to the side. So what you see here is under the boat, so you can see shad, individual fish here, and then this would be out to the side. So it shoots down. You notice the water's 33 feet. That would be 33 feet straight down, and it just puts it on a horizontal plane so you can see it. And right here again, here is the edge of the creek channel here. We're almost running right along. We're probably actually in the creek channel right here. And what I like to watch for here, I'll point this out. See this little bit of shadow here? That tells me it gets deeper to my right. So there's some form of ridge here. So guys, as we run along, this is the copper color here. And I changed my bottom screen. This is the grayscale here. And you can look at it depending on what your eyes see. It is set on, we'll get it about the same. So that's 98, that's 95. And I'm gonna turn and go towards the sun so you guys can actually get a better view. So this is the copper, and down here is the grayscale. So it's up to you which one you like. And so we'll just go along and see which one kind of shows up the best. We see we have some type of drop off or creek channel here. And Then we're gonna go up here. That's some kind of creek channel right there. Let me slow it down. We just went across the creek channel. So you see here, here. Now let's drop down to the grayscale. Now this morning I can see the grayscale about as good as I can see the copper. You see this little spot here? That is probably an old tree stump right there on the edge of the creek channel. If you're a bass fisherman, that would be a great place to find fish or possibly hold some crappie in the water. And let's see if we can mark some of those trees as we continue by. And we see our, all right, so we can see, I don't know if you can see that. Let's pull that over there and I'm gonna blow that up. So that is a part of the trees, grayscale, you can see it. And so this is a lot of times what I'm doing. See, I'm going up this side. I can take this screen and move it with my finger. So I'm seeing just the edge of this. And if I really want to expand it out and look at what I just seen, and I'm gonna go past this tree right here. Hopefully we can see that. And I've got it pulled over here. Here's the shadow line. Now I'm gonna expand it up right here so we can see the tree. I see some fish right here on the end. That is probably crappie right there. And I'm gonna do the bottom. I'm gonna pull it over and look right here. See these white dots? That is crappie holding in that base of that tree right there. Boom. That's crappie right there. Right at the base of it. So we're gonna pull them back over here, split the difference. Here's a good, I'm looking at 73 feet. See this tree here? We ran right over the end of it. And again, take the screen and blow it up like this so you can see the tip of it. And you might be able to spot fish through there. Sometimes, sometimes not. Here again, I'm on the bottom scale. Let's blow that up. I'm gonna move it to the side where I can see it. That tree sticks out a long way, 70, 10, 50 feet out in the water column right there. So let me say this, as a rule of thumb, I will run 100 feet most of the time. If I go, say, turn around and go back over it, and I know about where it is, I may zoom in and go down to about 60 or 70 feet. Normally never go over 100 feet, 110 feet if I'm just looking. Most of the time, because I can go up and zigzag and come back and forth if I'm looking for something particular. Now you can, if you got two screens, you can put one on, 150, 200, because you may be looking for that, just that little bit of blip on the bottom, and then you can come back and get your boat a little bit closer, if that makes sense. All right, guys, I just popped in this cove right here, and I want to show you this. See, we're going over some fish right here. See these individual fish? Those are crappie. They're up in the water column. See the shadows they're putting out? Let me blow that up. See the shadows that these fish here are putting out? So that tells me that's crappie up in the water column. Now I'm gonna just run back in this cove here. Here's some more. This grayscale is showing up good. I'm liking this grayscale, y'all. Let me speed it up a little bit. That's crappie there. Shad. These might be bass. So we're just gonna put back here. You notice I'm running about 3.6, 3.7. This cove is getting narrow. Let me show you the cove. This cove's getting narrow. So it's gonna get really shallow quick. And so what I'm trying to do is shade it in here. You can see the screen a little bit better. Still looking at it 109 feet. This is actually bank coming out of the water. You can see the stair steps where it gets shallower. And I'm gonna try to point out crappie if we see them in here. There they are right there. I just went over them right there. That is crappie there. I went over them. I'm not really seeing them. They're hugging close to the bottom because I'm not really seeing them across the bottom. They need to be up in the water column in order for me to be able to see them just a little bit. That's a spot I'd mark right there. Pull that cursor right there. Mark that bad boy. That is some type of stump. You can see it here. It says on the grayscale, some kind of stump. And there's some kind of anomaly right there. See where that drops off? That's a very odd shape on the bottom. I don't know what that is. But you notice, see these white dots? Those are fish. I don't know what that is. It's kind of weird how it drops off right there, and it's in the middle of the cove, so I'm not sure what that is. And as a rule of thumb, you side scanning, you see something like that, mark it, and you can go back and fish it. Because it's just, whether it's man-made or whether it is some type of natural deformity on the bottom or whatever, potential probably will hold fish, because there's a little difference in the bottom. Here's that old pipe right here. We're gonna mark this right here. That's an old pipe under the water right there. That pipe goes through to the other side. See that pipe? You can't see it. Here it is right here. I'm gonna turn again. And I'm gonna just stop the screen here for a second so you can see this. So this is an old pipe that come up underneath the road bed. That is the top of the pipe there. So I marked that on the other side. And then I'm gonna mark the end. You see the old creek channel coming around here? So I'm gonna mark that too. But as I said earlier, this is one of my combos here, combo number 3. So I have traditional and I have the grayscale here. And like I said, I can quickly hit the grayscale and move the page over to here to you know, look at it on the grayscale. And we're gonna turn a little bit. I gotta remember to keep the sun in my face, guys, because I know that's rough. One other important step: let that motor up. I forget about it all the time, and you'll notice it. You'll see that gray shadow on that left-hand side most of the time. If your transducer's on the right, you let that motor up a little bit so that beam can shoot out under that motor. Most important. And we're gonna come past some stuff under the water right here. Some old rock columns under the water. I hope I can get close enough we can see them. So let's take a look at that. We're gonna look at it on the grayscale and on the copper as well. And we basically went right over top of them. So here's some of the old columns right here. Old rock columns right here. I see a couple of fish hanging around them, not a lot. Here again on the grayscale, you know, we see it a little bit better on the grayscale there, you know what I mean? All these dark lines on the side, that is just bank. So we see all these columns right here. Old rock foundation columns is what they are. And see, they stick up. See, you see the shadow line, so you know they're sticking up off out of the water column fairly well. All right, guys, so here's all those columns that I was showing you that we saw on SideScan. That's kind of what they look like under the water with a live scope. Just to give you an idea, I'm just turning the head of the trolling motor. Guys, we're gonna go past this bridge here. columns just to look at how it looks. And I may have to come back the other way if we can't see them. See, all this is rip-rap here. This is spread out a little wider. You can see the columns really didn't show up. They're just shadow lines, basically, is what they are. Just shadow lines. And to be real honest with you guys, if you're checking bridge columns, normally I like down scan the best. So all your electronics has specific things. That's just my personal opinion. But when I'm running bridge columns, if I can run the lengthway of the bridge, I like to run down scan. It gives me a good definition of the column, plus you can see individual fish around the column or in front of it or behind it or in the shadow line. That's what I personally like to do versus running side scan. Now, running docks on side scan, sometimes you can see the fish defined, sometimes not. If they're really tight in the school, most of the time you can see them under the dock. So guys, I'm going to end the video with that. I hope that helps you when you're out doing some side scanning. You know, to get good with side scan, man, you just got to use it. You got to run it. I always, just about always have side scan on while I'm fishing and looking. And like I said, I haven't used my electronics on this lake a lot. So I'm just trying to learn the lake, some good spots under the water. I know I found two today that I did not know was there or had an idea that they was there. Anyway, guys, I hope you've seen something in the video that you learned. I hope you've seen something in the video that you enjoyed. Get out on the water. It's summertime. You ain't got to worry about being so cold. Get out. Summertime, sometimes the fishing slows down. Just get out on the lake. And to learn it, I've went to lakes before and rode for 6 solid hours just looking with side scan, looking with down scan, just looking, trying to find brush, trying to find places to fish, and you'll be surprised in spending a half a day of what you can actually find out on the lake. Guys, you remember, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Don't forget to hit the like button and click that notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Wildlife Adventures. And as always, you remember, it's a wild life, and I'll see you on the water.